Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses, Day 3 of the 4th of July Racing Festival, July 5th here. Oh, by the way, Talking Horses sponsored by Saratoga Water. A little early, Jonathan brought the Saratoga Water. Nice move. Very clever of you. He's Jonathan Kinchin, by the way. I'm Andy Serling, and excited for a big day. 12 races.
It's been fun. I mean, you said it yesterday on the show. Like all the late races, all the stakes yesterday, they all kind of like felt good when you walked away from them.
109 buyer for Bring the Band Home. He looked like Cogburn Tart 2, didn't he?
Yeah, that was good.
That was crazy. How
Very good.
Man, did he run good. Anyway, we've got 12 to talk about, so we're going to get right to work. Head over to Naira Bets and use the promo code BONUS200. That promo code is going to change next Thursday, Jonathan. It's going to be a very exciting moment. Eddie's already gearing up for it. Use that promo code. Go to NairaBets.com. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. What else do we have, Eddie? Money back guarantee, 10 to win. That's the only bet I cashed yesterday. I got $10 back when somebody ran third, I think. On your horse, you run second or third in the Belmont Oaks. So good way to protect nitrogen, I'll tell you that. Anyhow, we have cross country. There it is, Ed. Monmouth, Belmont, the Saratoga, Horseshoe Indy. I mean, we're everywhere. We will be showing I think all those races are actually going to be shown on the show. But I know we're showing the Indiana Oaks and the Indiana Derby later today. We are on, oh man, are we on today? 12:30 to 1:30 in FS1. Then 1:30 to 7 in FS2. And then, I know, Jonathan, you're on the show, right? 8 to 11 tonight?
Yeah,
You
I'm
don't
coming
want to
back.
miss a harness show, right? You like to be here, eat a little dinner. Maybe just Salevo deliver and bring you food on the set? Because if they would do that, you would be very popular around here.
I
on
could
the
probably
show.
pull that off.
Really? Well, then don't offer. So that may have been the dumbest thing you're going to do the entire summer. Pretend that didn't happen. I think, Eric, that means Jonathan's going to be on one of the late night shows. Acacia will be happy to hear that.
Eric, I will block you. I will block you.
I think that was an open invitation. JK is going to sharpen his harness game. Race numero uno. A lot of New York sports in here, huh? You got Danny Tartable. Was Danny Tartable the one in the Seinfeld when George tells him that their uniforms, remember he wants to change the style of uniforms and they get too tight? It's like a problem. I think that was Danny Tartable. Of course, Patrick Ewing, John Kakamis tells me it was in fact Danny Tartable, and Pat Ewing here. I'm guessing a Knicks Go is named for Pat Ewing.
That sounds good.
Let's show his workout from the 2-year-old sales. That's an awful lot of money to pay for a Knicks Go, huh?
Yeah, Knicks goes average at the sales with yearlings and 2-year-olds this year, about 60,000, and this one went for 520,000 more than that. Went 10-1. The thing that I like the most about this horse is the horse goes 10-1, sells for 585 around April 15th, right when they had the sale. Gets back to the track on May 6th, goes a half, doesn't miss any time. You're going to get a very
that's a great
fit
point.
horse.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Well, also because a lot of times the 2-year-old sales horses disappear into some triangle somewhere, and so in this case, the horse was really ready to go. Listen, I'm not against this horse. This horse is clearly going to be a short price, and the Cassie horses are firing as they did, last year as well. And I'm not really against him. I just went to the horse that has experience, and she's on a roll. I'm not sure how good she really is, but I know one thing about Wesley Ward. His numbers here with dirt horses over the last year or whatever have been just off the charts good. And being that Ewing's going to be very short, I just thought this horse might be a better priced alternative, but I'm not against Ewing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I would keep an eye out with she's on a roll just for future race, knowledge is she's on a roll was beaten by Obliteration, who's running on the third. So if she's on the roll, runs well, or wins, I think you can upgrade Obliteration a little bit in the third.
You make a great point.
Thank you, sir.
Race number 2. Mile and an eighth. And I think Jonathan and I have the same opinion here. And we'll take a look going back 4 races on Call Me Fast. Now, Call Me Fast has this race and the subsequent race, which would make him very tough to beat in here. And then he's got 2 races that stink. So my question to you is, why would you pick him today? And I did too, despite the fact that his last couple races really sucked.
Well, because there was a voided claim last time.
Okay.
And he's come back and worked a bunch since. So my thought is maybe something wasn't right with him at that time. Maybe he was a little whatever. There's no reason to speculate. But now he comes back, and I think it's an aggressive running him for 50 because obviously someone tried to claim him for 62.5. But I also feel like off avoided claims, people are a little bit more gun shy to try to claim a horse. So, and he's drawn well, and if he can find those back numbers, he will absolutely win this race.
My thing to add to that, and I agree with all of that, is why would Joe Sharp bring this horse here if he's going to run one of his last 2 races? Why would he even bother? The guy is extremely sharp. Listen, when he's live, he also gets bet very strongly, but why would he bring this horse if he didn't think he was going to run okay?
Devil's advocate, I guess,
Thinks
is
you get him
because
claimed?
you can get him claimed here easier than probably anywhere else. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
fair. Might be hard to find a 50, get him claimed for 50 in Ellis Park. Yeah. Though if Linda Rice wants him, she'll be there as well. But I just thought it was cool. And the other thing is that leading contender, I mean, he can obviously win here, but I'm just getting a little tired of him. I do think his last race, even though it's a 3-horse field, it's a little bit better than it looks. But, I mean, I just had enough. I hope he runs well, but
Just feels like a realistic spot for him. And, you know, I'll say it all the time, and I know you know it as well, is that, you know, this meet, when we're at Saratoga, Chad wins so many races that his horses, I don't want to say they're overbet because he wins so much, but often they're a point or two shorter than they probably should be if Jimmy McWilliams trained them. And so I always try to decide if I'm either 100% with or I try to be very, very against just from a betting standpoint.
what's Jimmy McWilliams' record over the last few years?
He's
not very strong.
4 for 470.
376. All right, race number 3, the Sanford. And, you know, with running here this 4th of July weekend allows us to move races like the Sanford and the Schuylerville so that we can get more horses, hopefully, to run in these races and the Saratoga Special and the Adirondack as well. And speaking of obliteration, here he is. You can see Wesley on the lead and falling apart. This was some performance. And, you know, I'll say something about Steve Asmussen. His barn has improved their numbers with horses off of 2-year-olds off debut. He used to have terrible numbers, and he's improved a lot in horses in their second start. So not great numbers, but they're pretty good. And it's a hard thing to do to break your maiden and come back and run as well the next time, first time out, you know?
No, 100%.
A lot of horses don't do it.
No, he seems like one that's going to improve, right? You know, he wasn't one that was like, he overcame some adversity, obviously. He was 10-1 on debut, or maybe he just tricked some people. And I just,
You trick one friend of mine, I'll tell you that.
It was more of my lean on obliteration was that I don't really love the 4 blinging it back.
Really, I'm curious. We'll show him finishing second. I took him actually over that one. I thought he lost to an absolute wildebeest in this race. What are you? I'm curious why you're against this horse.
Yeah, I just thought the number was a little bit high based off of his first number, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a very, you know.
Time for him has it a little bit slower.
Right, and that's the one where I just didn't quite trust his last one. But, you know, I just think obliteration might be pretty good, and you get to switch to Flavian Pratt, and you know, Steve's horses, I think, often when they win first out, at least as like you pointed out, they will take a step forward now. Where sometimes the last race was the one you wanted to be involved with.
Yeah, no, listen, obliteration could be very good. I don't have any illusion. It's interesting. David has the 4 favored. I wonder. I mean, I don't know if David has him. I mean, 6-5, 7-5. He's not exactly confident in this position, but it's sort of interesting. Strategic risk, you have second. I just thought his race was too slow for me.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, this is a situation where I really only need obliteration. I would probably single playing like an early pick 5 or something like that. But for the sake of this, of having other picks,
so you're just obliteration and out, basically.
I think so. I just think he's better than these horses, and I think that there's actually an opportunity for some equity there. I mean, I think Honey Dutch is interesting, but not one that I would like lean on.
Tough to take a firster in here. I think the 2 and 4 are okay.
I do too.
You know, even if you're right about the 4, I think these horses are okay. So we'll
see.
The
one thing about Whit Beckman though is you know, you've seen his name show up in some of these 3-year-old races, which means he's getting good young horses, and I think that this could be the
worked for Todd Pletcher. He worked for Chad Brown. I mean, if you can find a better education than that, I don't know where you're going to find it. I just had a thought. Your boy Reagan Swinbank is coming here with our main man Nick Tamaro this week. As a matter of fact. I think that we should have like a group. We should bring him on the show. What do you think, Reagan?
Oh my
Everybody's friend.
Yeah, you should have him.
We'll get the beep thing going very quick with a 5-second delay on Reagan.
There's one thing that no one can argue is his enthusiasm for the game.
He's the greatest.
Loves it. Loves it.
He absolutely loves the game, and people love the game, and we're excited that Nick is going to be here as well. I don't think Nick's been here in a few years, actually.
It's been a while, yeah.
All right, race number 4. So you and I both took Ragtime in here, and we'll take a look at Ragtime breaking her maiden. And obviously, you know, you could call this a cop-out pick or a short price. Bill Mott has good numbers with his maiden breakers coming back. Second-time stars broke their maidens in their debuts. He's 8 for 34 with a 224 ROI. That's pretty good, you know. It's tough to get him to do. This horse was very, very good. And this was a field that might be pretty loaded.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a good group, and the thing about him was that the fact that he was 9-1 on debut, there was another one in there, if I'm not mistaken. Mott had two.
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
the
yeah.
other
The
one was
Juddmonte,
Benmont.
the one that's you haven't done Thursday's card
Yeah.
like some of us that were up all night did. I couldn't sleep last night. Yeah, that horse is back. The close hatches.
Yeah, and so you'd like to think that he wasn't that well meant first time out, right? I mean, considering the other one was bet, there was other horses in there. I think he's got another step forward.
I'd like to think that Bill cashed personally, but
Well, Junior, I think one of the signs obviously is that
Junior
was on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think he also may have been riding, to be fair, because it was Godolphin and this was
Yeah.
Belmont Stakes weekend, et cetera.
Absolutely.
Vermilla, the dam, ran one huge number, either in the Ballerina or the Honorable Miss. She ran like a 110 buyer or something. She was actually Darley. They hadn't made, Do you know why they went from Darley to? Because there's no more Darley anymore.
Right.
I remember the time, and if Dan Pride is watching, he can correct me, but I remember the time there being talk that the Sheik was annoyed that Bernardini never ran the Godolphin silks, because it always meant the very top tier went to Godolphin, and and sort of in the middle, and their claiming arm was South Elkhorn. It was a third stable, but I believe it was after Bernardini, because he never wore the Godolphin silks, that they went to basically all Godolphin now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. He was a good one.
Yeah, no, he was. I will always. There are a lot of horses I regret. I'd love to have seen American Pharaoh as a 4-year-old. I really regret Bernardini retiring, especially because he wasn't that good a stallion. He's a good broodmare sire, but I would love to have seen that horse as a 4-year-old. Alieska, the horse that we have second. We'll take a look at her race. I mean, this is a race, and I know you'll agree. She's in the Mary Lou Whitney silks. She gets just completely and totally taken out of this race and back to last. And it's not as though this is a race that completely falls apart. And, I mean, I thought this was a crazy, crazy, visually impressive race by her. Now, I know it was a 64 buyer, but you're talking about a 2-year-old first-time star that had significant trouble and just ran so well. She could be dangerous.
Yeah, and her number looks a tad bit light when you look at it, on paper, but that's because it was earned as a 2-year-old, right?
With trouble.
Yeah, and September is a 2-year-old too, so it wasn't even like late in the year with trouble. She's definitely going to take a step forward. She could run 15 points faster, maybe 20 points faster.
Easily.
And if she does that, she's right there in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue she had 8 lengths of, sort of trouble in this rate, or not 8 lengths, 4 lengths, let's say, and then you can say she can have, 4 or more points of improvement, and now you've got a horse that can run a number in the 80s. So I do think she's dangerous, and she was sold, obviously, in the Mary Lou Whitney and the John Hendrickson after he unfortunately passed last summer, and Vinny Viola bought this one. So I think this was dangerous. I don't think Artemis Sound is that bad, the 4. I just wonder if this is a little too tough for that horse. But because points is points, what do you do with points is points? The horse that has this is a 1-number horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is this is the one that I preferred of the 2. But with the
Me
1A
too.
coming out, I think my price gets a little better, right? Because the 1A was usable.
Do you think the entry would have been favored over Ragtime? And obviously, David. It's very close.
I don't think
I have 2 for the price of 1.
It's
is
pretty
where
close,
going,
yeah.
A 92
With
buyer.
yeah.
Problem is, it's a 92 buyer and a 1.8 and the muddy sealed track, and every other race was on a fast track, and the horse ran a 70, 62, and 72. So it's a very hard to just believe. And by the way, that number is legit last time. It's just hard to really trust that horse is going to come back and run to it. If she does, she's probably going to win.
Yeah, and she's tactical enough, at least last time she was, down on the inside to try to work out a trip from there as well.
All right, we'll see what happens in race number 4. Race number 5, the first race today. This one's on the Mellon, so we don't have to have the big
There's only one
conversation.
on the inner today, right?
Thank God. What, the stake?
Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
Kelso's
I
the
thought
only
there was one other.
Maybe there is one more.
Yeah, I think there's that other race later.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and for people that have been with Rip Van Winkle, you may have noticed there is an extreme bias where inside horses particularly, and even forwardly placed horses, are dominating those races. And it's really interesting to watch what happened in the Manila, because that's when the riders, and to be fair to them, there'd only been 3 races. It's not like we'd run an abundance of races on the course. They all were aware of it, and they were like everybody going to the same spot to get on the inside. So these biases can affect the way the races are run because the riders are trying to do the right thing, and it can create some chaos.
It's also why I think Zulu Kingdom ran so well because he never got there.
I said that to Chad. I said, he was never on the rail. He was probably a little more forward, a hectic pace than he wanted to be. I also think the horse I like, the two, actually ran very well in there. But, yeah, I agree. I think it was a better performance than it looks like on paper. He got an 85 buyer. The Belmont Derby got a 90 and a 104 for Phileas Fogg.
Wow.
In the Suburban. That was a heck of a race.
Absolutely.
Tough beat for you on Antiquarian, but that was a really good race.
No, it was. I saw Kendrick this morning. He was ear to ear. So he's got Deterministic a couple weeks ago. He comes back here with this one. Good for
cool.
him.
Yeah, no, that was they were really the racing is delivering in a big way. And even the maiden race we haven't really talked about where that Mott horse got up over the Mott Firster and Chad's horse, the Firster, who was very sluggish early. That horse ran well. That felt like a live race as well. Race number 5. I am going to show a horse I don't think you have this horse anywhere, but I do want to show Back Check just so people understand the race this horse ran last time. And you can say, this horse could have run, this horse got left a good 6 lengths. Now got a very, very juicy trip thereafter, but you can obviously argue, good trip or not, this horse could have run in the 70s, and this horse may be better than she looks. I just feel like this is a much tougher group.
I thought the 1, 4, and the 7 in this race were basically all the same. I thought they looked all the same.
They were my 3.
Yeah, and I wanted to crack one egg, and it just so happened that National Archive became the one that got cracked. I'm not overly against. I also just thought would maybe be a little bit overbet with Flavian and with this trip.
Well, the problem I have with the horse that you picked on top, Summer Whirl, is that he's just kind of a plotter. She is just kind of a plotter. It's been a short price all the time and just doesn't get there. And when you're trained by Graham Motion, these trainers that are extremely good and you're failing at short prices all the time, to me it's just it's like a black mark on them every time they do it.
The one thing that I thought about Summer Whirl that helped me out to make this one my choice was that if you look at all those past races, those were races that, when she was a 3-year-old, there's still an opportunity to improve as a 4-year-old, too. She hadn't run since October when she made her last start. So there's an opportunity for her to take a step forward. Maybe she needed that race. It was also her first time with blinkers, which I thought maybe this time in a race that doesn't have a lot of pace.
Well, that's the problem. There's no speed. And North End Lady, who's one of the main contenders, she figures to be forward, right?
Yeah, and especially from the inside. But she also has a lot of races that are really slow early. Mm-hmm. I thought this race was really tough. I think if you're playing a multi-race, bet as many as you can use here because whoever works out the best trip's going to win.
The other thing I would add, and this is on the Mellon, which is played fairly, is these are the kind of races that Flavien Prat does well in because he's able to put his horse in a position and not be as compromised. And National Archive, if people were wondering, I didn't show the replay, but this horse just got about as ridiculous a trip last time as you could get. Broke a little slowly, was out in the middle of the track the whole way, and just had absolutely no chance in a race that was won wire to wire. The second horse came up the fence to get second, and this horse was out in no man's land. I thought he was very logical.
I just realized there's a typo there. I had 7-4-1-2. I was confused. Yeah, I didn't have the 5. Sorry. It was either me or it was probably
Jonathan
me.
hasn't lost his senses.
Let's see whose fault it was.
Arletta Dioro. It's Eddie's fault. Let's blame Eddie. Eddie said he takes all the blame for it. There's fixed. We're all set.
Definitely
Thankfully,
Eddie.
There's other competent people in the truck outside of Eddie. Race number 5. This one's on the inner. I'm not sure there's not a third, but anyway, we'll get to that in a second. These are for 2-year-olds, and what'd you do?
I went.
What am I missing with this horse? You and Aragona like this horse. What am I missing? This horse took no money first time. Is a Connect, who's not a turf sire. What am I missing?
What are you missing? Oh, the horse didn't break well last time. It was more of a thing where I didn't.
But let me just say, this horse broke out 6 paths.
Right.
This one just not break well.
Yeah.
This horse had a ridiculously bad break.
I just didn't. It was between the 7 and the 5. And okay, he's still behind. I was just checking. It was between the 7 and the 5.
This is race 6 now, Eddie. You can move on. You don't need to keep showing the mistake you made. Okay, I'm sorry. It was my fault. This one was my fault, not Eddie's.
No, this one's my fault.
Race
too.
number 6. Here we go. Thank you.
Wait, is this what?
Did you want the 5 second? Oh, so
no,
that's
I have
what it was.
7-5-1-8. Yeah, it's the other way. So I'm 7-5-1-8 here.
7-5-1-8 for Jonathan.
Sorry,
Jonathan
that was probably
clearly
my fault.
screwed this up. It's completely his fault.
7518. 7518.
And, okay.
Yeah, it was between the 7 and the 5 for me, and I just felt like I just deferred to the 7 because I'm guessing with the 5 still with the first-time starter who's going to be a shorter price.
Graham Motion's improved his numbers, stretching out horses after sprints in the debuts. I don't know how much running this horse did, but she is going to be inside, and she potentially, I got to think Irad, who is on top of his game, as he always is going to be looking to send this horse, and this horse could be in a real position to wire the field.
Yeah, I thought the horse actually got a pretty good trip.
I agree. I don't really
time.
like the horse, but I think this horse may trip out significantly in here. I agree with you. I did not particularly like this horse last race.
The other thing too is that it's a completely different circumstance today too, right? They went 6 furlongs the first time. Now they're going a mile. Maybe that's just what this horse wants to do. And so while I want to knock her for getting a great trip last time and not winning, maybe it was the distance that was the problem. Maybe he was just trying to give her one around there for a spot like this.
Yeah, maybe. It's possible. Embrace time. You've got a strong turf stallion. You've got a dam that was very good on the turf. She's 0 for 1 when her production was bad, but this one's a not this time. And it's Brad Cox, who, actually, I looked up 2-year-old turfs, first-time starters and turf routes. He's 21 for 98, 225 ROI, and at Saratoga, it's a stupid stat. It's 2 for 5, but the big ROI. So he does have horses ready to win these races.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about being up here is that when you get these horses trying, debuting on the grass, a lot of times they've worked on the grass. So you can either evaluate them by looking at a workout report, or you at least know that these good trainers have worked them on the grass, so they're not fully guessing. They worked them on the grass, and they made a decision to run them on the grass. They probably handled the grass.
Yeah, no, I have this one, but I'm scared of that one. Apparently, Connect the Stars. And this is going to be a big moment, had a very big gallop out.
Oh.
Which to me, I have no idea how to read it. Sometimes it matters, and sometimes it doesn't.
I think it just tells a story of energy, but it doesn't always tell a complete story.
Yeah, I don't really pay attention to it. I'm not saying I'm right, and there are a lot of people that swear by it, and that's fine. I just don't know necessarily how helpful it is.
Final Gambit yesterday galloped out very well in front of everyone.
Yeah, I won't be betting him back in the Saratoga Derby. I can promise you that. We got the pick 6 and the late pick 5 after a quick break.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Jonathan Kinchin and Andy Serling. Race number 7. I went a little bit off the beaten path here with my pick, and we'll show Philly Freedom running second. We've already seen this video actually, but we'll show her running second the inside. I'll tell you what my worry with this horse is. This horse didn't get bet first time out. Does that bother you at all?
I don't love it. That's not bad at all. Jeez.
And I just kind of wonder if maybe that's not a good sign in this horse. And he ran well, or she did, excuse me, and surprised Chad Brown. And listen, I picked another Chad Brown horse that didn't take any money the first time either. This horse ran fine, though, last time. Number of horses out of this race are stretching out at 1 1/8 on Thursday's card, which has a very good split divisions of the De La Rose. By the way, it was a very big workout at Belmont Park this morning.
Who? Serling?
The big horse is getting ready.
Is he a dirt horse or a turf horse?
I don't know. He might be neither. Yes, there is a horse named Serling, and he is a 3-year-old. He's a McKinsey. He's a half to Where's My Ring?
Oh,
Yeah, well,
That's
I
cool.
actually love that horse anyway,
Yeah.
so I kind of love that. Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
awesome.
I'm hoping the horse can debut up here. Get my mom to come out. All right, so why did I go to Trango Tower? I can promise you I didn't go to this horse because Chad Brown told me he liked her. Because I asked him and he said, I think she might need some more distance than that. Which maybe he's right. Lewis Bay, who he trained, though she actually ran okay in the test. Not well enough for me. I don't know. This horse made kind of a middle move in a race where LeCara just blitzed the field last year. I thought this was going to be a Chad Brown horse that would get a little bit lost because they'd focus so much on Philly Freedom. And, you know, where else do I want to go in this race if I'm not going to go to Chad's horse? You know,
So I want to touch
Cassie
Trango.
Firster?
I want to touch Trango Tower real quick because
go ahead.
I just your point on Philly Freedom was a good one. Is how do I feel about the fact she
I
wasn't
said
bet?
that. I said I picked a Chad that wasn't really bet.
But the problem for me is that
Well, to be
Trango
fair-
Tower didn't run.
Much like this horse, the Chad Brown Klarovich horse in that race, who I think ran fourth, was 9-5. Now the Wildcat
Yeah.
was shorter in the race that the other horse was in as well.
The other horse that I thought worked, and you didn't have the horse at all, was the 7 Celestial Speed.
Okay.
And I know you're not a huge workout guy. Workout report. It's not.
I don't.
Not a big. it's not a
I
major
just don't really
part of
look at it,
Yeah.
but I'm not. No, I think they have great
Celestial
value.
Speed worked with Iron Orchid.
Oh, we disagreed about this yesterday, right?
But you made the great point. I think you made the point that Iron Orchid was a 2-year-old. This
was
is a
it a
3-year-old.
great point or just a good point?
No, it's
Where
a
is
good-
it on the scale of points?
What's in
We
between
have a
good
point
and great?
meter.
What's
we
the-
need. Yeah, better than mediocre. Yeah, this is a 3-year-old working with a 2-year-old.
Yeah, and that horse got a 75
But
buyer.
now I will acknowledge that horse. I think the could have gone faster thing is one of the most foolish things overused. That horse was geared down for a good 16th
Right.
of a mile, so I do think she could have gone faster.
So I do think this one's at least interesting, but I don't think if they were both 2-year-olds, I would consider this one to be a slam dunk here
I think
today.
that's fair.
But this one will probably run an 80, based off if they outworked a horse that ran a 75. Then that's where this one would probably land. Is that good enough to win this?
What about Jin's Beach Road? I mean, Yellow Agate was a Christophe Clement horse. Broker May with a good figure, won the Frizette in her second start and never really went anywhere. And she's produced Agate Road. And there's another horse whose name I can't read. Go something.
Gasoline?
Oh, no, Gasoline, who was actually at one time very good for Todd on the dirt. So, I mean, 650,000 and the way Cassie's horses are running, I mean, you got to be scared of this horse, right?
Fun fact about Yellow Agate in the Breeders' Cup, I think it was in 2014.
God, I can't
no?
remember.
No, it was later than that. Anyways, it was at Santa Anita. I bet $10,000 on her in the Breeders' Cup betting challenge. That didn't go well.
No, I was going to say, I don't remember her winning that
That didn't
race.
go well. But, the thing that is fun
You bet your
thing-
whole bankroll on her?
Yeah, bet my whole bankroll on her,
So
yeah.
you're out right away.
Right away.
I love that.
On Friday,
I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
The one thing I will say
Not
about
that I love you were out. I just love that you took a
Gin's
shot
Beach
early.
Road, and we joked about this yesterday on the show, is Mark Cassie has been very aggressive with his horses. I mean, sending them, being, with Lacara.
So is Irad.
Yeah,
Irad has
100%.
been aggressive riding out there, and not that I think more than he'd been in the past. He had a great day yesterday. He's a great rider.
Yeah, I
but-
think that one's interesting. She's got a little speed. I mean, you have her second. I've got no problem. I do not think this is like a simple race. There's no singles.
right.
in
I
here.
don't. I just kind of want to bet against the 4. She may win, but she's going to be awfully short with a lot of different things going on in here, as you pointed out. I mean, the truth is, even Practical Love is not that bad. The 8 horse. I've got her 4th. She's got that one fast figure. Dry powder's not that bad, and she got a sloppy track. She's on the turf. She's only run the one race since her 2-year-old start where she didn't run well on a dry dirt track, and she ran a 76 buyer, which is 1 point lower than an 8-5 morning line, and she's 8-1. So I don't think she should be completely dismissed in this race.
I agree, and it's weird because you could. It was a sloppy racetrack last time. Her figure kind of dipped a little bit, but maybe that's why. I guess the one concern would be it seems like Mott was trying to get her on the turf. He ran on the turf, and then the last race was off the turf.
Right, but the races don't lie.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
far and away the best race this horse ran was on a dry dirt track, the only time as a 3-year-old. Race number 8. Well, we'll take a look at Antares and Final Verdict, running 2nd and 4th, I believe. And listen, we saw the Flying P Juggernaut last year. We saw them win a race with a logical horse here already at the meet. I'm not sure if they're 1-for-1, but it feels like they're 1-for-1 with horses that could win on paper.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this horse really made some run between horses in this race. Works for me, ran a respectable race, finishing 2nd in yesterday's stake behind that Wildebeest. I didn't pick this horse on top, but I'm not an idiot. He's the horse to beat. I may be an idiot, but I still think this horse is important to beat.
I thought it was a 2-horse race between the 7 and the 8. I ended up going with the 7. Like, you know, we Jay Provinciano and Flying Peter, they came in with, I think, 20 more horses than they had last year. Yeah, and they're ready to rock. And I think that these horses are going to be well met. They were pointed to here. I think that he's probably spent all year thinking how fun last year was.
But keep in mind, this is not going to count towards the Saratoga Owners title.
Of course, but
not that means that Jay doesn't want to win. He wants to win.
I just, you know, I went with the 7 just because the horse has been a little bit more consistent than the 8, but I've got they're very hard for me to separate.
You don't know that there was misinformation given out in the production call. This is not the rider of Boats or Rockin's first race in Saratoga.
Really?
Yeah. So Bobby, our producer, is on thin ice with me right now for a little while. I'm putting him on probation.
We're going to write that down, Bobby.
I'm going to harass him almost as much as I harass Eddie. Aren't you a little afraid this horse could wire the field?
I just don't trust the horse off a break.
Okay.
That was the thing. I just didn't.
Fast races, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he's got a lot of speed.
Yep.
You'd like to think he's going to be aggressive from down there.
He breaks.
Yeah.
He's faster than Twisted Filigree, I think.
Yep.
So I thought it took a shot wire field. I'm not against the 7.
Yeah.
I don't think the 7 is going to be 3-1. I just think the Flying P horses are going to get bet off the board here. I could be wrong. Judge Davis, I want to talk about him a little bit. You don't have him in there. I have him 4th because he does have some races that can win it. But, you know, you show the race from Kentucky Downs, and I worry a little bit. He did beat Mayan Prince. I thought he was going to be better. I mean, his races aren't that bad.
The problem I had with him was layoff, and he's got a lot of slow breaks throughout his past performances. And
that's a problem
in turf sprints. It's just not ideal, especially when there's not this isn't one of those turf sprints that's got like a bunch of crazy have to make the front types. I mean, Boats or Rockin' and obviously Twisted Filigree both have some speed, but Flavian could sit off and let the 2 get loose.
Shug has very good numbers off layoffs. I looked up 6 to 12 month layoffs for Shug. He's 24% with 66 starters, 260 ROI. So the layoff didn't scare me as much. Now he's 0 for 4 with sprinters, but that's such a small sample size. I think 2 at the board actually. And the fact that he does so well, it does seem like Shug has them ready off the layoffs. So we'll see what happens. I don't know why they're showing the other set, right? Didn't we say both shows were on the set today? I think
yeah,
so.
they told us. I think Evan texted me over here. So.
Yeah. So. Right, you're on early. So, race number 9. I know you were going to try to beat I'm Wide Awake, which I respect. I'll be very surprised if this horse is 3-1.
Oh, not yeah. Well, yeah, with the scratch of the 5, they're the only 2 speed horses with the 4 and the 5.
Yo Banana Boy?
I don't think as fast as these 2.
Well, he sort of has to go. I mean, the only times, and we'll take a look at I'm Wide Awake's last race, the only time he's run well is when he's been forward.
Yeah.
So they kind of have to go with him.
I would agree. I mean, they have
this
to.
horse could stalk. I'm not saying this horse has to be loose.
And now it just works out where now the 4 doesn't have the pressure of the 5. That's why I liked the 5. I thought the 5 was going to be the third, the outside of the speed horses. Now the 4 is going to be able to sit outside of the 3 if the 3 decides to go, or the 4 will just make the front. And this is a race I'm sure you did the same thing. I didn't see exactly who you picked yet, but don't tell me yet. I tried very hard to find a closer in here because I thought it could cook up just a little bit, and I just don't think that any of the closers were good enough.
Well, I have a theory, which I'm going to bet my money on, but I have nothing. I think it's going to be 6-5 in this race. I mean, he was very good last time. I still want to see it keep going, because the horse had raced an awful lot of times at Oaklawn over the winter. This horse had a heavy workload, so I wonder. But he ran great for Norm last time, that's for sure. Here's a fact you probably don't know. The owner of He's Got It, Donald Laplace, and this is not why I picked him, he is the son of the longtime morning line maker at NYRA, Donald Laplace.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah. Actually, probably the morning line maker. I don't know. There may have been a gap. Yeah, I think there was a gap between him and Eric doing it.
Not an easy gig.
I'm sorry, but I cannot ignore this rider change to Flavian Prat. I think this is a giant rider change. And I'll tell you something else. This horse has some ability. He's got to run better than he's run. I think he's going to run better with the rider change. I'll tell you something. I'm not big on rider change jockeys, but horses move up for Flavian. So I'm hoping this horse moves up for Flavian. That's as simple as that.
I think if you think the race is going to fall apart, the 6 and the 7 are the 2 horses that you have to consider. The only issue that I had with them too is I just didn't think they were fast enough, even though their styles fit perfectly to what potentially could happen.
Russian Realm's got a couple of fast numbers. I mean, to be fair, he's got a couple of strong numbers. He is the most dangerous rival.
Yeah.
If you think it's going to heat up, he's the most likely winner.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know, he's run some fast races. He's not very reliable, but he has run some fast races, and I think he is dangerous in here. But I'm going to opt to bet against the 4 with a 6, though I'm not against. I'm wide awake. That would be silly. Race number 10, the Kelso. We'll start by showing the poker. I don't believe that Donegal Momentum is going to get the free pass in the lead he got last time. Now, I think he's a very good horse, but I also don't agree with the morning line. I don't think there's any chance that he will be favored over Intellect. I just don't think it's possible, especially the way they bet Intellect last time, the way he ran.
Even with the, I mean, I know
the way
that
the track's playing.
yeah.
Well, he does have the inside, so he managed to save ground. But don't you believe that with Think Big stretching out and Arzak stretching out, that at least one of these horses is going to go?
So I love Think Big, so he can come back to that. I feel like they're closing type turf sprinters, so I don't think that they're going to be like take them completely out of their game and like put them on the front end or anything. I think they're going to be close enough, which is why I like Think Big. I think Donegal Momentum is going to go. He's going to get to the rail, and Think Big is going to sit right in behind him. They're going to walk around there, and it's going to turn into a sprint for home, so give me the sprinter. This reminds me a little
Let's
bit
show
about
Think Big in the turf sprint at
Casa
Churchill, please.
Creed when he was kind of going back and forth from sprint to route. I remember that race where it was a slow-paced race, and it just turned into a sprint. He was the best sprinter. I just think Big is going to sit on the inside, which we both believe is where you want to be on this turf course, all the way around there, and then sprint for home.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think the riders are too acutely aware. It's too good a riding colony for them to just sort of abdicate. And I don't think Irad riding the 7 or even Jose are eager to allow Donegal Momentum to have an easy lead up front, because I think if he gets the front, sets those paces, I don't like Think Big. He's the kind of horse that I just hate as a bet. He's a closing sprinter. These horses are very rarely good stretch out candidates.
I agree. I completely agree. In a normally run race on a normal biasless racetrack, if you know, but I feel like he's going to sit on that great part of the track all the way around there, and it's going to turn into a closing sprint for him.
The problem with that is that I believe that Donegal Momentum's a better horse. You don't. Not a better sprinter. This horse runs some fast races. I also worry about his last race. I mean, Think Big was. I know he didn't have a good break, but my God,
he was
he was
bad last
terrible. And he's a horse. And Mike Stidham's numbers at NYRA. He's stretching on the turf. He's 9 for 82, 11%. The ROI is okay, but this horse is going to be a short price. You and I disagree in this race. It's fine.
I do think there's nothing. You know, it's a little the Jaipur being moved, and it's a little weird. That whole thing was weird.
Okay, yeah, I know. Listen, he had trouble at the start, so I don't want to be overly harsh on him. And I'm not trying to knock Curtis, but picking up Jose Ortiz is not a bad thing for him. Listen, I'm probably picking Intellect, who is a closer, is going to be 2-1 in this race. I thought he ran really well last time. He did save ground, but there was no pace at all, and he was rolling.
I love Intellect in the 4-star Dave.
You're setting up a lot of horses for the 4-star Dave. Jonathan is going to be taking over the stakes coordinator job just for the 4-star Dave. He was talking about a horse that could run it yesterday on the show.
Yeah, well, I was talking about Zulu Kingdom maybe. I don't know what his weight break would be, but
what about Mountain Bear? We'll show, and I know this horse lost to Nantastic Beach. This horse also has a third behind Carl Spackler and more than looks 2 races back. Is there a possibility that second of a layoff, this is just the best horse in the race?
This is, you'll remember this day, Andy. This is the pick 5 at Churchill where a big price won early, and I basically had like 5 horses in here except for Nantasset Beach.
Oh, this was the day, right?
So for me, my brain was I didn't like Mountain Bear. I didn't like this other horse, so I was just mad at this race altogether. I don't like
Mountain Bear. This horse ran well. This horse was wide in the turn.
Yeah, he did run much better. No, I'm not. These other 3 horses, to me, circumstantially and on paper, are better. Donegal Momentum's going to get a better setup. I think Big, obviously, is better, and then Intellect is obviously better. I don't see how this horse beats all 3 of them.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to on a fair racetrack, I'm not sure I wouldn't have picked this horse on top. I'm worried about whether Victor's going to get the right kind of trip with him. What about Win for the Money, who won the Wood by Mile? I know that, and we'll take a look at that. I know he's kind of tailed off, but he's not a 1 1/8 horse. His last 2 races, 1 1/8. He didn't really even run that badly in his 2 back. He wasn't winning the Breeders' Cup Mile. I don't trust him, but this horse ran in here, and it's Mark Casse. I know he's got a lousy post, and Dylan's got to figure out a trip. But from a talent standpoint, I mean, he runs this race, he's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down Toronto Baffert with the way that Cassie's been sending horses. Why wouldn't he on this biased turf course? Why wouldn't he tell Dylan to get your position going forward, and if they let you go, or you
and
make
at least
the lead.
go and try to get position inside. You know, I
think
agree.
he's got a better shot of heating it up than the turf sprinters.
Okay. Neat. One thing I'll say about Neat. First of all, he draws the coveted rail. This horse got in a speed duel in a bog last time. I'm going to say it again. That was not a good turf course, the 16th and 17th of May. It's just showing up too much, and it's really annoying me. I just think it's wrong. I mean, you talk about things that are a miscarriage of justice for horse players is labeling a bog good on a big weekend, especially, ever, but on a big weekend. And it's just been permeating the PPs all weekend. And 2 races back, I'm sure you're aware, this horse got about as ridiculous. This horse got knocked over on the first turn. Checked early is the understatement. So this horse had real trouble in that race. I don't know how good that race was, and it worries me. I've never thought he was that good. He had perfect trip when he was winning, but he has been compromised in 2 straight races.
When I first looked at this race, it reminded me of our dear friend Rajiv when we were on set last year. And you and
that
him were arguing.
ridiculous when he thought this horse had a much tougher trip than Cugino.
You guys try to involve me in it. I don't know.
The best part of it is that and we love Rajiv, and we really do, and he was a great friend of mine for many years, but you were trying to be nice, and you're like, well, Rajiv, there's a couple of different ways to look at it. You were over there being peacemaker, and I was thinking, shut up.
I hate arguing with riders about trips when they've been out there doing it. I try to ease my way into those
I'm just feeling bad for Romero that he's not going to be Rider of the Week. He's not going to win Rider of the Week again this year. What did he win it 5 times or 6 times last year? I think they're going to rename it the Romero Mirage Award. Race number 11, the Belmont Oaks. And Nitrogen might not just be the best turf filly in the country. She might be the best 3-year-old filly in the country. We'll take a look at her winning the Edgewood. One thing I'll say about her is, are we really that confident she has that significant an edge on the turf over these horses? I am not.
I love her. I just think, look, I'm not saying that she's like the greatest wager in the world or anything like that. I just think she's exciting. I think she's a fun horse that I want to root for, that I want to watch, that I want to see, continue to go on and do great things. She's beat up on a lot of the other good horses in this division.
Quick acceleration. You saw that.
The thing that made me really fall in love with her was her work on May 30th that you can find on the internet if you look hard enough. She ran by Deterministic, who went on the next week to win a Grade 1, and Carson's Run, who's also a Grade 1 winner. She kind of got hooked in with them and ran by them. Now, I know there could be circumstances. Maybe they worked a little bit longer, and so they were tired at that point. But still, she's a 3-year-old filly that ran by 2 Grade 1 winners while they were being asked, and she wasn't. I just think she's really, really talented.
Listen, I said in the Florida Oaks she was the best 3-year-old filly in the turf of the country. So I've been there, and I'm not against her. I think there's a very interesting horse, which you clearly don't agree with me on at all. But let's show the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf, because I do think you have to mention that Mayday Ready finished ahead of her that day, and it's not like she had the world's greatest trip, breaking from the 12 post in that race. Lake Victoria won one of the 1,000 guineas. I don't know which one it was. Mayday Ready obviously hasn't had a chance to run this year. She's giving up conditioning. We don't know what she can do. But she did finish ahead of Nitrogen, for what it's worth.
She did, and they both ran really well here.
Yep.
For me, I just thought that we're basing Mayday Ready's today performance on what she did as a 2-year-old, and I just felt like Nitrogen has continued to improve. I know how good she is as a 3-year-old. I think we're guessing how good Mayday Ready is based on what she did as a 2-year-old.
No, I think that's very fair. We have no idea, as she moved forward, or as she
certainly
went
could.
to Japan. So Fione won the Regret, and you have her third, but you have Totally Justified nowhere. Totally Justified was attacking the pace set by that Classic Hugh that I know she was with a track, but that was some race she ran the other day in the Wild Applause. This was an extraordinarily fast pace that basically fell apart. This horse broke the race open. I'm very surprised you, a guy who's very, very attuned to trips, don't have this horse in the top 4. I don't know that she can beat Nitrogen, but I love her today. I think she's going to run huge. She may not win because she might not be able to beat Nitrogen, who is very good.
Yeah, I think for me the difference was just the distance, right? They had been, the 9 furlongs.
That was a 9 furlong race.
No, I know what I'm saying, but first time, I preferred Finn. I thought that Finn kind of moved into that. I don't know. I'm not passionate about it. Is it Finn
Well,
or
you just
Fiona?
think the favorite's going to win. And
Yeah,
that's
that's
fine. That's
also
fine.
true.
I mean, you
Yeah.
may well be right. I'm betting totally justified. Opulent Restraint and Virgin Colada. I know Virgin Colada was sort of, you can say, against a little bit. I'll tell you something about Opulent Restraint. Chad Brown has maintained this to me for quite a while, that she's a filly that needs to be aggressively ridden. And I thought she ran well in this race. Laura Lynn is really good. I don't want to be dismissive of her. I think she's really good, and this horse really improved being aggressive. I know she lost to Nitrogen in Florida. I don't love her here, and this race is on the melon, but I think she's a little bit dangerous in the front.
No, I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, I've always been a fan of this horse. I think the one issue I would have is that her style, while that might be what she needs to do moving forward, she's going to get run at about the 3/8 pole
Well,
by
totally
a horse who's
Justify is going
probably
to be
better.
at her, too.
Right. And that's
So
the hardest part.
And I like her more. But I do think, listen, I don't think Warming is totally impossible in this race for Graham. I know she's a bit slow, but she ran well in her last race. And, I thought she ran okay at 6 furlongs, 2 back. We haven't really had a chance to see who she is. And I think she's a horse that could take a step forward. I just think this race, you may be right. Maybe you're right. Nitrogen's just much the best horse in here. I'm not quite convinced.
Yeah.
I think this is absolutely her toughest test. She's also had a very heavy workload. And, because Mark keeps these horses going, so I'm confident he will. But she's had a heavy workload, and a lot of these horses have not.
Yeah, and look, she's trying the 9 furlongs. That could be something, too. I know a horse player we both respect very much told me at one time, Paul Matisse, that he really
I don't like
gives an upgrade to turf horses who can run well on the dirt because it shows that they have a lot of toughness.
Well, I think there's something, yeah, I remember this coming up. I remember Mark Hopkins years ago in Gulfstream pointing this out to me. It's like when you see a horse that's more of a turf horse and the horse is able to run reasonably well in the dirt in a couple comeback races, it's a very good sign that the horse is in good form. Yeah. From what I've heard, now we should ask Mark this to clarify. They're talking about running back in the Alabama or next start, not the Saratoga Oaks, which means everybody in the 3-year-old division would be very happy to have her go away. And I tell you what, I'm interested to see what she does, because I know it's off the turf race, but she basically ran a huge fast race that day.
That would be cool. That'd be cool. Good for them.
She very well. Listen, Mark's got a pretty good duo between her and LaCara. I mean, that's a pretty strong barn. Mark is loaded in that division. Race number 12. This is the one Jonathan told me that he's been looking forward to the entire day because he wants to bet on a horse named after, is it Pirates of the Caribbean? We'll take a look at Captain Jack Sparrow. Is it Captain Jack Sparrow?
Yeah.
Right. Johnny
seen
Depp
that?
modeled, I think, no. But Johnny Depp, I met Johnny Depp once, many years ago. He was walking around with Iggy Pop. He modeled after Keith Richards, right? That's the story. You never knew that?
No.
Yeah, that's what he said. I think Keith Richards has a small role in one of them. I don't know, man. This horse is a cinch if he runs this last figure. The major player if he runs the race 2 back. I'm not totally sold on him.
The 11 and the 10 to me are both very very likely winners. But like
they're the two horses to beat. I don't have
I don't trust them.
Idiot.
I just think that they're like multi-race wagers. I have to be alive to the 10 and the 11. But I also have to be alive to the 6 and the 7.
Yeah,
the
I
6
think you
adding
have
blinkers,
to have a 6 and 7 in here, right?
And the
Cutting
7,
back.
and the 7, the way the 7 ran 2 back for Dave Donk and the way that Dave Donk's training profile goes, where his horses will continue to get better. They'll have some bad races, but then they'll have some good.
Gelding gets Luis Saez. There's a lot of intangibles on this horse.
100%.
That's why I picked him.
I would need all 4 of these, and I would be 100% fine using them equally. I don't need to press the 10 and the 11. I'm 100% good just using the 4 of them.
I basically went by price on my top 2 in the 4 contenders in this race, and I took the bigger prices because I can't bring myself to take Captain Jack Sparrow at 8 or 9 to 5 in this race. He may very well win and make me look foolish on that, and won't be the first or last time, but he's a tough horse for me to take at a super short price. Even though you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and the other thing too is the figure was fast last time. And that was the thing that kind of pushed me over. He was wide all the way around there.
Is just not much racehorse.
Yeah.
And it may have been an aberrant, muddy track race. I think Tiote ran pretty lousy yesterday as well. Jonathan, it was a pleasure. We appreciate you watching as well. Head on over to NyraBets. If you're not a member, use the promo code BONUS200. You only got 2 more days with BONUS200. Things are going to get wild here on Thursday when we change that promo code. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Play through NyraBets. We have a $10 win-back, money-back guarantee, a $10 win bet in the Belmont Oaks. You run second or third, you get your money back. Opt in for that. We have the cross country, Monmouth, Horseshoe Indy, Saratoga, we'll call it. That'll be starting at 3-ish. 12:30 to 1:30 on FS1. 1:30 to 7 on FS2. And then Jonathan will be on early, and he's coming back from 8 to 11 and bringing Salevo to all. This is for you in the truck. Jonathan will bring Salevo to everybody in the truck. He told me he was doing it, so he's going to do it. 8 to 11. I think I may be lying. Anyway, it was fun. You will be on early. I will be on late. Frank Miramati is getting all revved up. He's got a big day today. 12 races, Frank, the voice of Saratoga.
All of that photo he called yesterday. Did you see it?
Was it the Tom Collins one?
Yeah, it was insane that he took that chance.
I wonder if John Embrial texted him and said, "Do you really want to call that photo?"
He was right.
He got it right. If you're right, you're right. And he was right. He's usually right. He's Frank Miramati. He'll be up next with a reprise of the scratches and changes. Everybody have a great day.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.